Remember when common sense was common? When standing up for what is right was the right thing to do? Welcome to The Right Side. Common sense conversations about Hawaii's political landscape and how it affects you, your ohana, and your community. Join us for the next hour as we cut through the political noise and look at Hawaii from the right side.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Aloha Wednesday. Producer Leah, are we ready to get this thing rolling? All right, Malia?
Yes.
How's it going? We have a ton of guests, and we're talking homelessness, something that is really for me because I have family members, and now in my second term, on the city council, I really want to try as much as I can to try to help find solutions, good solutions, right? And really try to help people gain back their dignity. One of the things that's so sad is that no human should be sleeping on a sidewalk or in a brush, and we got to do what we can to help, to the many people outside of our state. Hawaii's paradise, heaven on earth. And while that may be the case, we have many challenges too. Hawaii has, of course, we all know this, the highest cost of living, right? We feel it every day when we go to the store. And it's led to, a lot of families becoming homeless. The latest census data on Oahu shows that there's been a 19% increase in homeless families since January 2023, including, and this breaks my heart right here, 635 children. Half of them are 6 years old and younger. Study shows that unsheltered children do less well in school and suffer from other issues that can lead them to become homeless as adults. So, we need to stop that vicious circle. I don't know about you guys, but I remember as a young man in school, and we used to have career day, and the teachers would talk about, or speakers would come by and talk about, you guys are the future. And you used to think, man, the future is bright. And then I become an adult, and I'm like, isn't this supposed to be getting better? Why? Because I remember when I was growing up, we had one homeless guy in my community. We all knew him. We all took care of him. And now, it's everywhere. And the sad thing is that it's young adults that have mental illness problems. Young adults. And I never saw that growing up. And I tell myself all the time, wait a minute, I was told that things are getting better. How come things are getting worse? And thank goodness we have good people that, care and passionately change, the challenges we face with homelessness. So we're going to talk homeless, guys. If you have questions and you want to join in on our radio program, I want to thank Savio for giving us the opportunity to, talk about city issues. So if you want to call in, the number here is 808-913-6450. That's 808-913-6450. Write it down. Put them on a post-it notes. Grab a Sharpie. Put them on your kid's head so that as you driving home from school. That's the number, 808-913-6450. Okay, Malia is my communications director for my office at District 9. If you didn't know, I'm the city council person for District 9. That's Eva and Waipahu. So Malia, would you like to introduce our guest today?
I would. We have a great lineup of guests. 3 today. So we have Makanani Rivera, who's a full-time student at the University of Hawaii, West Oahu campus, pursuing a degree in business administration. She also joined Inspire Church's iHot team, which they can tell us more about, in 2018 while working for Alea Bridge, an outreach organization in Wahiawa. With a background in finance, she plans to use her business degree and experience to serve our underserved community. And we have Dr. Neil Shimoda, who works in Honolulu as a doctor, and he's attended medical school at the University of Hawaii Manoa and trained on the mainland, but returned to join his father's practice in 1994 and retired last year. I know he's not retired though, because he works very hard in the community. Yeah. He's been at Inspire Church in Waikele since 2007 and involved with houseless outreach since 2013. And Valerie Kupihe'a, sorry, I'm saying it wrong. How do you say it, Valerie?
Kupihe'a Tuiloma.
Kupihe'a Tuiloma, yep. Is the outreach director for Kealoha West Oahu's Region 3 and 5. And it's a nonprofit agency she'll tell us more about that's serving undersheltered of unsheltered, sheltered, and at-risk houseless populations 60% of Oahu, which is really amazing.
All right, so now that we introduced all our guests, tell us a little bit about what you guys do. Let's start with Dr. Shimoda first.
All right. I'm with Inspire Health Outreach Team, and we try to live out God's purpose for us to serve the least of these. Specifically, we are a team that reaches out to the houseless ohana on the streets, in the bushes, anywhere that they're found.
That's awesome. Okay, you want to go with you want to do Valerie? Valerie, want to do next because you guys do an amazing job, and it's man, it's so when was it like one social worker to 100?
Yes, pretty much.
That's okay. Go ahead, introduce yourself, tell everybody what you do, and all that good stuff.
I'm the outreach director for Kealoha West Oahu, regions 3 and 5, basically from Hona Kaihale, all through Kapolei, Eva Beach, Barbers Point, Aiea Pro City, all the way up to Mokolea, Haleiwa, Wahiwa, Mililani Sunset, just all of that in between. And we what we try to do is we service the community of unsheltered or at risk within 14 days of eviction or needing to leave their residence. We connect them to services, resources, assist them with shelters, hygienes, just trying to connect with these people and finding them and connecting and building that relationship for them to get their services.
Awesome. Okay, Makanani.
Hi, aloha, I'm Makanani. I help Dr. Neil. We do outreach in the Mililani, Waipahu area. We go in the bush, we hike mountains, we go under the bridges, we go wherever it's necessary in order for us to reach our houseless brothers and sisters and to bring them snacks, food, and most of all, God's word. Prayer is important and it's powerful, and a lot of them receive, and that's our purpose. Our purpose is God's purpose, really.
You know what I appreciate about what you guys do, and again, I think a lot of it is building trust, right? They need to see a familiar face, and when we went out with you in the field, Doctor, everyone knew who you were, and I think that's so important in trying to help our houseless community to have dignity. So let me ask you guys, what are you guys witnessing, on the field? What are you seeing that's maybe that you feel like we need to do a better job in helping?
Well, that's a hard question for me. But the main thing is just to be consistent in what you're doing, so that you tell them I'm coming back in 2 weeks. And we'll see if we can solve some of these problems that we've talked about. And if you don't show up, they're not going to be too happy. But and they're not going to trust you. But we try to be consistent. Kealoha is excellent at that.
Yeah.
As I'm learning, as we've developing our relationship. But that's something that we've been trying to do for the 12 years that we've been out there too.
Awesome. Okay, Val. Because I know you guys are in the trenches, and we appreciate what you guys doing, and I know you guys need a lot of help and a lot of resources. But what are you seeing on the field?
Honestly, I'm seeing some people just falling through the cracks, and that's the reason why I actually started, was to make sure that people don't get lost in the system, and basically aren't dying out there in the system, lost with no help, no resources. We need a lot of help across the board, all agencies, community partners, building the relationships with not just the unsheltered, but with the agencies and the community. Because it takes a village to raise a child, but it literally takes a community and more to end homelessness. We can't do it alone. And I'm seeing more and more, on the positive, I'm seeing more and more agencies collaborating together and wanting to work together within my community that I live in. So, that's a good thing that I see.
What about you, Makanani? What are you seeing on the field?
A lot of brokenness. I see a lot of addiction out there. Mental illness is really bad out there, and it's hard to tell them that we want to get them housing. It's hard to tell them they've been out in the elements and to tell them we're going to put you in a box. That's how we live. That's how we can live. We can't see ourselves out there, but they can't see themselves inside either. So we have to understand where they're coming from and kind of accommodate their situation. And like Val said, it does take a community. I believe that if one community member can adopt one homeless person, amazing things can become of it.
Yeah, no, I also believe that. I think that's kind of the reason why, I got involved in my last term to build relationships with business owners, churches, nonprofit, right? And one of the things that I think is so important is that we lead by example. You know what I mean? And again, it's building a trust, right? And we, like I said, when you see one young man or woman, with a mental illness problem, you just kind of like, man, where did we fall short? Because, like I said, we saw maybe one in our community, but you see it like everywhere, by bus stops, and you're driving home, you almost feel defeated, because you're going like, where did we fall short in helping people? I remember 30 years ago when I worked at Kapiolani Medical, we had an ice problem. And I remember him asking if employees would come and rock babies because we had so much ice babies. And, as I got older, I'm like, man, these babies going to be adults, going to have kids. And the kind of drugs that we have now, I'm wondering, is there maybe chemical imbalance? Because, the Pakalolo that we smoked 30 years ago is not the same Pakalolo now. And that person maybe that have the chemical balance, take a puff of this, and next thing you know, boom, either wired or, hanging on something. Because I've had family members that lose it with just a little. And when we talking fentanyl, we're talking all these crazy drugs. And man, my heart breaks, but I also know, because there's good people like you, we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to maybe change what we're seeing. And we do have a caller on the line. So can we do that, Chris? Is Chris on the line? Hi, Chris. What's your question?
Well, first, I just want to just really pleased we have this perspective on the radio. We desperately need this in Hawaii. It's going to balance us politically over here. So first of all, great for that. But I'm curious, just like you were saying, Augie, why is we seeing so much of this nowadays? What's happened? What's changed? Is it drugs? What is it that so many people have this terrible mental problem? And I don't even know why is this? Does anybody know why this is going on? So that's my question. Probably you guys probably know, or maybe there's no answer for that, but I'd be interested to know what the experts think.
Well, Chris, we really appreciate your call. Who wants to take a stab at it? Chris, thank you so much.
Okay, mahalo, guys.
I think Valerie. I see Valerie thinking hard. I mean, you've been involved in this how long now, Valerie? And a lot of the members at Kealoha were former homeless, residents also, right?
Right.
So you guys know firsthand, right?
Lived experience.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't speak about 100% of the mental health or the behavioral health issues that are on the streets. But what I can say is, a lot of people coming back from the military, there are a lot of U.S. vets that come back really, really needing the mental health services. For families that have never experienced homelessness and then finally they are homeless, whether it's Lahaina fire, COVID, the cost of living is jumping high, just the trauma of being homeless, that can trigger some mental health. Definitely with the different types of drugs coming out nowadays, the fentanyl, the heroin, the hard stuff coming down from everywhere else to Hawaii, that definitely has a hand to play in that. All of it together, it's just a lot.
So it's super complex.
It is.
Super complex. You want to take a stab, Doc?
Yeah, I second what Val says. It's multiple different factors. It can be drugs. It can be, just poor connections in the home. All those things, I think, play a part in this.
Yeah. Some people think we have a housing crisis. Some people think, I grew up, and this is not to knock any group or, a nationality, but I grew up in public housing, and my neighbors was Filipino, Japanese, they're Hawaiian, Samoan, And public housing was once a place where you had an opportunity to get a hand up, not a handout. But when I go to different housing projects and I ask the people running it, what's the percentage? And you'd be surprised, the percentage of our Micronesian community in the public housing. And, and it's not their fault. I mean, what we did was bad to the island, but then we had to take on a huge burden. And, when you look at that community that of course had first right because of what we did, but I don't remember ever seeing just one group in public housing or a majority. I saw different nationalities.
Everything was diverse.
I mean, when you, because I walked out like you, Doc. I've seen, and it's local people. This is, aunties and uncles, and I know they can easily settle in and go, well, if I not can get housing, this is how I live. No, tell me how and we know that's not true. I mean, I've seen the living conditions. And I tell them, look, I grew up in public housing. I never liked sometimes what I saw in public housing, but how can you like living in one bushes or a backseat of your car, knowing that you have children? And I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know, with my mom and dad raising 4 boys, 5, because the other ones came later on in life, I don't know if they would be able to get into public housing from what I understand and how it's processed now. So what would have happened to my mom and dad, me and my brothers, if was now, not 30, 40 years ago with me growing up in old Hawaii? I feel old. What would happen to a young family, mom and dad, kids? Would it be able to go into public housing? Because it feels like we don't have enough resources because we're too busy taking care of our mistake, with everyone else. So, I think that's part of it. And I think drug addiction is part of it. And I think education. If we cannot get those kids in school, we're looking at a vicious circle that never ever stops. Like I said, I'm so thankful that I grew up in public housing, but at the school I had teachers that taught us how to dream, and we never beat ourselves up just because we were poor. The house that I grew up in, my dad, it was clean. I never know I was poor. I was in high school and we had one different kind of coin for lunch. What is this coin? How come I gotta get on quarter? But they had no idea. It's because we kept the place clean. Mom and dad worked, not understanding that they just never have the education to get them the kind of job. But what's different from that to now? What is the difference? Well, I think high cost of living.
Yes.
How do we get people that work hard, that provide for their family? Are we giving them the resources to get Section 8? Are we taking care of people that need the help the most, the middle class, that paying for all these funds, that just need one hand up, just need a hand up? Because I think if we don't solve this problem, we've been seeing it now for a long time. Millions and millions of dollars go into, trying to solve homeless. And I think people are tired. They burn up. You go to neighborhood boards and people just, Val, we go and they're mad.
They do.
They burn out. Like, what you guys doing? We thought all this money go in and we don't see nothing changing. Mm-hmm. So it's very, very complex. And great question, Chris. It's a bunch of things, and you see this nationwide. So it's not only here in Hawaii. You see it nationwide. You see it in Los Angeles. You see it in Oregon, Seattle. It's everywhere. So let's talk about the root causes of homelessness, just so that get people listening. Maybe, maybe they don't ma to this whole thing, but what is some of the root causes of homelessness? Who wants to take a stab at that one?
Addiction. It's generational. And our system is broken. We try to get them into rapid rehousing, and we got to pay cost. You got to get their documents, you got to get their ID, their social security cards, and if they're coming from Guam or
Samoa,
if they're coming back,
Philippines.
if they're coming up from someplace else, it's hard to get their birth certificate. It's just that connection with the other countries. We just can't get their documents, and you need their documents in order to get housing. In order to go from one place to another.
We're seeing a lot. Then we're seeing Filipinos. We're seeing a lot of people that
Micronesians, Samoans.
Wow, and they just down on their luck. They get here and they lose the important paperwork they need to get them going.
Yeah.
And again, the addiction, right? A lot of it is addiction. Doc, you want to take a stab at that, the root causes?
Yeah, it's all those things. And, just in some cases, it's bad luck. My wife died, and she used to take care of all the finances. And then now I'm left with nothing. You hear these different types of stories, little things that just push them over the edge, and they just can't compensate.
Yeah.
One reason or another.
Val?
Well, honestly, I can't say which one is more or which one is less. We have family members living with mom and dad their entire life, their childhood. Mom and dad get to 85, passed away. They don't leave the house to them. They were renting all this time. I've never worked a day in my life. I'm houseless.
Yeah.
You have the generational homeless who children grew up in homelessness. That's all they know is homelessness. Raise their kids unsheltered. There's that. There's definitely the drug addiction, the alcohol addiction. But honestly, when it comes to people that are addicted, 80% are housed. People that are on drugs, they are housed, So that is part of it, is not a lot of it. COVID definitely hit a lot of people. Lahaina fire, I'm going to say again, hit an entire half of the island, And those people are moving to Oahu to be unsheltered, to get resources, because we have more here on Oahu. And the fact that Oahu has so much resources, especially on the west side of Oahu, a lot of people tend to move from the town area to our local areas on the west side, Leeward Coast, Waipahu, Waianae.
Is it because they feel like they just kind of can fit in?
They can fit in. There's beaches where they can shower for free. We don't have a Punavai rest stop for them to come and shower, wash their clothes, but we have other resources out there. We have the best community that has banded together to provide resources for that community. So a lot of people are told, go to Waianae, go to the boat harbor, you'll get help, you'll get all these things. So naturally, I have people calling me daily. They want to come here, fly from the mainland to be homeless because we have so much resources.
That's it's amazing. Yeah, and it's heartbreaking. And that's the reason why, we're doing this, because we want to not, because it's so easy to target the homeless. We're looking to find solutions. We're looking to fix a problem, giving people back their dignity. No human being should be sleeping on a sidewalk. But at the same time, we got to do our best to do whatever we can to give them back their dignity. And sometimes it's telling the truth, and sometimes it's really, really doing more than what we're doing now. Once a week, I get to do this, and we get to talk about city issues. And, Mayor Blangiardi is, dedicated in wanting to solve the homeless problem. And today we wanted to talk homelessness. In the last 4 weeks, we've talked, adopting a park, of the film industry. So very, very appreciative to Mr. Salvio for giving us an opportunity to talk about some of the issues we have here in Hawaii. And today we're talking homelessness. And we have Makanani Rivera, Dr. Neil Shimoda, Valerie Tuiloma, and we have Malia from my office, the Director of Communications. So here's the question for this break. Let's talk about shelters, affordable housing. What do you guys think? We have enough?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, we don't have enough at all.
So what we talking about when you say we don't have enough? What we looking at as far as numbers? Because I can tell you, the point of count in Eva and Waipahu they say it was like about 130, and I look at 130 and I
No.
go, really 130 in Waipahu and Eva? I cannot imagine, like, downtown Honolulu, Waianae, Kapolei, so.
Honestly, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. I definitely can get you that answer. But just dealing with the calls every single day for services and needing help and wanting shelters, they have to come through an outreach in order to get a homeless verification letter. That's the minimum requirement to get into an emergency shelter.
Explain that, because I remember a family member having to get assessed before even getting some sort of help.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how outreach works is we get community concern calls, or we go out, we find people that want services, accepting services. What we ultimate goal is try to enroll them in our program. So that way, when we do an assessment with them, that's called the VSPADAT survey, that places them on the homeless management information systems that we call the homeless list. And that's for all the homeless across of Oahu. Every single person that does that survey gets put on that list. And that list is where housing resources come from. Rapid rehousing, like Makanani said. We also have permanent supportive housing. We have transitional shelter housing. And you get a referral based on your vulnerability, your need, and whatever you're experiencing. It scores you based on your answers. And with that comes the resources. Just knowing that I've had families on this list for longer than I want to say, waiting for a resource to open up, because one family is going up against the entire Oahu homeless.
The numbers, right?
The numbers. There's not enough emergency shelters. There's not enough beds. There's not enough kauhales. There is not enough transitional shelters, permanent housing, affordable housing that is actually affordable. Looking at how many offline units through HPHA that need to be fixed up that can assist with that affordable housing, that low-income
for
housing.
transparency, HPHA,
HPHA, Hawaii Public Housing Authority.
Good.
Am I going to get in trouble for saying
No.
that?
I grew up, in that system, but a lot of people don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that there's units that can be fixed up and opened up to people that are already on that list, so that way their list can open up and other people can transition. It's a cycle. We get people off the streets, we get them on the list, we get them connected to a resource. They graduate from that resource, can be sustainable. They're in permanent housing and can sustain on their own. Then the next person comes in on the list. And it's supposed to be a cycle. And there's a stop in it. There's a major stop because there's not enough housing inventory for people. And there's not enough resources for people to get the assistance.
808-913-6450 if you want to join in on a conversation. So, Doc and Makanani, tell me why you guys so committed, to wanting to help the houseless in Hawaii.
Well, it's a funny story, but the long story short is that I've learned to love these people. They're like brothers and sisters. When you meet them out there, you don't see, when you first go out, you don't think that.
Right.
But when you sit down and talk with them, hand them a sandwich, talk to them for a while, pray with them, and you just share hope and the love of Christ with them, they turn into different people. And with time, you gain a little bit of trust, and the hope grows within them. And then we can connect them to folks like Kealoha and other resources that can get them the things that they need.
That's awesome. Makanani? No, I know this is very, very challenging, but it's a real problem. It's something that, we see every day, and there's so much people that care. It's just, we don't, I just feel like we can solve the problem if we had, people like yourselves in the community. And there are, but I want to let Makanani share.
They're people too. They weren't born saying, when I grow up, I'm going to be homeless. They're people. They need help. They need people to accept them, to appreciate them, to know that they went through hard times. We're not born perfect. We all make bad decisions, and we're here to help support them and try to bring hope back into their lives.
Right.
And when, like Dr. Neil was saying, we build these relationships with them, yeah, they're like family. We have never had any encounter of anybody ever in opposition of our help ever. They're always receptive. When you ask them if they want to be prayed over, they welcome it all the time. They're just open and they're very accepting, and and we love being out there. We love to service them. We ask them, what is it that you need? How can we help you? Do you want to go into shelter? And a lot of them don't really want to just yet, but we're hopeful.
Yeah. You know, because I can almost tell you that, you know, for me going out there, I know that as a lawmaker, sometimes, you know, you get trapped in that world and I go, look, I was doing this before I became the city councilman. You know, I was serving, you know, at shelters before I became a city. And you're right. You know, we just need to make some sort of connection, because when they're ready to change, or they're ready to, you know, make that turnaround, you know, we got to be there for them. But then we also need the resources like now. We need it now.
Augie, I was wondering if any of you have an inspiring story where you feel like you made a difference with someone, or there's any time that stood out that, you know, you think of, that you reflect back on and say, hey, that's part of what keeps me going, doing this very hard work that you do.
I do, actually. I have a story.
Look, I'm gonna let you take up this 4 minutes, because I know I see Doc taking and I see Valerie taking. So Makanane, I'm gonna give you this time to share your story.
There was a sister that we encountered. Actually, it was a community member who reached out to a church member. We all connected. And I met with her, and just so happened the person that she was meeting up with was my client. She was a client of mine. And through our resources and this community member, we were able to get her housed. But it took a long time because we lost her, actually. She went AWOL. She was gone. We couldn't find her. We finally relocated her. We found her at Hans L'Orange. We got her connected to services, got her Social Security, got her EBT, got her ID. But I have to say, I would not have been able to do it if it wasn't for my friend from the community. And this lady would drive from IL, bring her clothes, bring her food, bathe her, take her in the bathroom and shoot her down and pour water on her. And we got her connected. Now she's in housing, and she's in a house, in a care home. And she's really doing good. I take her to church. I pick her up and I take her to church every now and then.
Amazing how, you know, like you guys said, hope, right? I think every one of us, you know, need hope in our life. You know, you think you got it all together, but like, man, it's just so inspiring when you can spread hope to, you know, the everyday person. And that's why, like, look, I love doing what I do. I love serving the community, but I know as a public servant, there's so much needs. And I want to ask you guys, if you had the magic wand, okay, when we come back, what would you use that magic wand for in solving this problem? And I'm gonna thank Malia. Malia every week, you know, finds great interesting topics so that, you know, we can not only share about what's happening in our district out in Waipahu and Eva, but like some of the challenges in the city. And we all know that homelessness has been, you know, a problem now for a long time, but we have amazing people that's helping and trying to make dents in our community so that, you know, maybe one day, you know, we'll find a problem, or we'll solve the problem and find great solutions so that we never turn back. And really, you know, Hawaii is a place for everyone, you know, and so far, if you guys been listening, you know, you've heard some amazing stories. You heard about how our guests go out daily to help find, you know, solutions for the challenging problems. Okay, so I know Makanani shared. Thank you, Makanani. I know Val and Doc is ready for share their inspiring story. But here's what I want to, before you guys share an inspiring story, if you guys did, because I feel like if I wait for ask this question, we're gonna run out of time. So we're gonna do them first, and then if you guys can junket poll who wants to share the inspiring story. But if you had a magic wand, because believe me, every day I wake up and I have my community in mind, and if I had the magic wand, boy, our parks would be amazing. The one place where it's free, and you let go, you see this thing like amazingly beautiful, right? And I look at maybe more parking than ever. Homes for everybody. So, all right, who wants to start? If you guys had the magic wand, Doc, you want to start?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, if I had a magic wand, I would just wish for more partners to help us take care of all these problems.
Wow.
Folks like Kealoha and River of Life Mission and all these other folks, Revive and Refresh. They have showers and washing machines and all kinds of stuff to help our homeless friends. But if I could have more partners to get these things done, I think that would be what I would use my magic wand for.
Okay. Who wants to do it, Val? Your magic wand?
Magic wand. More aloha across the board, honestly. Like I said, again, takes a community to tackle this situation, and definitely more resources are needed in every community, especially ours. But I wish everyone would have the education and the aloha to know how to assist, to know how to help, to know where to go to get the help, and actually having the help there when they're ready to make that I need help change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, Makanani, you had the magic wand.
I'd say aloha too. More compassion in our community, more community involvement. For people to want to go out and help a brother or sister that is out there. I know there's a lot of people that want to help. They just don't know how to go about doing it.
Yeah. And we're gonna ask you guys if you guys want to help. Is there a number that they can call, or a website they can go to? You wanna, Doctor?
Yeah, so with us, Inspire Health Outreach Team, you can go to the Inspire Church website, and there's a resource for volunteering and serving with us.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for Kealoha West Oahu, it's kealohawest.oahu.com. On there's the link to donate, volunteer,
awesome,
more information.
All right. Okay, so, again, we know there's a lot more help out there, and I know that there's a lot of people listening that want to help. They want to, help us find solutions. Out in Waipahu, we're doing this Win Back Waipahu, and I know a lot of you guys in the studio have, either I've shared with you or like what we're doing. And I honestly believe if we can get a respite in Waipahu, and I'm trying to really get the mayor, we had his chief with us on the last walk, and I said, look, if we have a respite in Waipahu, a place where, groups like you guys can, when that person says, I need help, we can just take them to the respite. They can, they can get the mailbox. They get a place for shower. They get a place for wash their clothes, and they maybe go upstairs and they get medical help, and there may be some stabilization beds. Some of them just need to put their head down and go, man, I'm really in a bad place, and feel like, we can take care of needs right now. So that's what I'm praying for. I'm praying that, within the next, while I'm still in office, the next 4 years, that we can get like a respite out there, because right now it's all in town. It's all in town. We don't have one in our community, and I know that would help so much. I know for Kealoha would help. I know for you guys, right?
That'd be amazing.
Because you already hear like, oh yeah, I'll take the help, but who gonna drive them to town? And if we had one in Waipahu or near Eva, oh man, that would be so amazing. So if there's a rich guy, Elon Musk listening, that would like to help with, helping with a respite in West Oahu, man, big hugs. And not only that, but I know God gonna take care of you.
Amen.
All right, who wants to share a success story? We got about 2 minutes. Anybody want to jump in and maybe share a success story?
I got a quick one. There was a nice young lady that we met probably 10 years ago in Waipahu Plantation, and she finally agreed to get housing, so she and her friend were housed.
Yeah.
The next thing we knew, they were going to New Hope, Waipahu.
Uh-huh.
And then a few months later, she was working at Long's at Pro Ridge.
Oh, awesome.
She's still there.
Yeah, awesome.
Unbelievable.
Val, you probably have a lot. I see you thinking, okay, we got about 1:40 seconds.
So I have one, I'm going to say, and it's a recent one. He was homeless in Waipahu. Not going to say where.
Yeah.
This gentleman had mental health, substance use disorder, decided that he needed to change. He ended up being suicidal, and I ended up having to take him to, get him admitted.
Yeah.
Once he came out, first thought, I hate you. You did nothing for me. I hate you. Clear-minded, one day later, called me back. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Got him connected through the system, got him housed, and he is flourishing now. At his present job, he went from the bottom to general manager of the area that he's in, the store that he's at, and he's currently still housed and on his own, paying his own rent and utilities.
That is awesome.
That's a huge success story,
Huge.
Val.
Look, I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing with you guys. Now, if you guys want to hear past programs, Malia, they can go to YouTube, right?
Yeah, we have our own YouTube channel.
We have we talk film, we talk
Parks, illegal fireworks.
illegal fireworks, and in the coming weeks we can talk about game rooms. What else we got?
Yep. We're going to talk next week. I think we're going to talk about social media and how it's changed the world. How
There you go.
Social media influence with some influencer.
Nice. Well, if you guys enjoyed the program, continue to listen every day. It's The Right Side, a common sense conversation at 4 p.m. Again, thank you. Producer Leah, thank you so much. Yeah. All right, we'll see you guys next week.